PRX were never supposed to be here, and yet they proved the doubters wrong time and time and time again. And when the smoke settled, it was the W Gaming squad coming out alive. And here's what no one figured out yet. No team wants PRX on their side of the bracket come Masters Toronto. This train's running rampant, and it's not stopping for anyone. Not for a rabid dog, not a couple of boosts sneaking from the shadows. They're laying it track by track as they go, gaining speed day after day. And soon enough, nothing's gonna stop the PRX train. Welcome to snstry. Today, we're talking about your favorite team's favorite team. PRX. They went from barely scraping into the Pacific Stage 1 playoffs to making a legendary lower bracket run, shattering every doubter's pick'ems along the way. Now, nobody wants PRX on their side of the bracket, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I'm gonna address this while it's still fresh. It seems like a lot of people are upset, or at least voicing out about me saying that Mindfreak was benched. I just want to make it clear that I'm not trying to bash or trash Mindfreak in any way. I was coming at it from a basketball perspective. When you're not one of the 5 on the court, you're essentially benched. That's how I looked at it. However, it turns out that the term carries a different meaning in the Valorant scene. I learned that the term bench is similar to getting kicked or getting released, if I'm understanding it correctly. So my bad for not noticing that sooner. I'll make sure to be more mindful of these nuances as we go along. With that out of the way, let's get into why we're actually here.
Let's go!
If I told you a few weeks ago that PRX would make it to Toronto, would you have believed me? I doubt it, because I wouldn't have believed it myself. Not because I ask what if BS all the time, but because back then, PRX were 0-3 in the Pacific Stage 1. By that time, PRX brought PatMen into the lineup, hoping to change their trajectory. But even then, they still lost to Boom Esports. The only silver lining is that their final 2 matches were against DFM and GE. Win those and they just barely slip into playoffs. Lose even one and the split is over. And so, without any shadow of a doubt, W Gaming did make it to the playoffs. But the sentiment was that the 2 teams they beat, DFM and GE, were bottom of the barrel teams, offering no real context for how strong PRX actually was. It didn't help that they were still throwing rounds here and there.
Out the spike. Something goes in for the peak. Does get punished. Defy as well though. PatMen at least keeps them invested. But also the long rotations over from Forsaken. PatMen gunned down. Ching in for the flash with the curveball. But it's not quite enough. Still the angle being held. Akame! He hits his targets. He's been the beast before, but now the angle's not quite favoring him. The flashes as well. Shield will trip. Oh!
So heading into the playoffs, analysts across the Valorant scene didn't have much hope for the pride of the Pacific, except for one man, Sliggy. On Plat Chat episode 214, he defended the boys against a horde of doubters on that podcast. He tried to sway them, but no one believed.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you really think PaperX are gonna beat DRX?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're on a run, dude.
What do you mean they're on a Shut
They're on a
up!
run.
They've beaten the
Do you
2
remember-
worst
do you
teams in
remember-
their group.
Nah, there's too much momentum here.
Too much momentum from beating Global Esports and DFM.
But soon enough, Sliggy found an ally.
But if I were to pick a watch party streamer, personally for me, it's always been Sliggy. Low key, on the real, I'm gonna say this to him too, I think he's a little dead inside.
The returning streamer FNS also threw his support behind PRX.
Why do I not get a shout out?
still gonna be
No
stopping in
shout out
Toronto.
for the boy.
And also shout out to Pujan, you are our lucky charm. So thank you.
I got you! No worries! That's what I'm talking about. David's a real one.
And before anyone says I'm biased against FNS because of my previous videos, look guys, pro player FNS is different from streamer FNS. One cooked my pick'ems, the other's just reacting to games like the rest of us. And damn, he's entertaining. Going back, all we really had to do was sit back and enjoy the show.
Forsaken's able to go ahead. Quickly take him down. Jing clean with the taps.
It was a must-watch run. This team, once hanging by a thread, breezed through the competition. From Masters Bangkok champions T1 to Pacific top seed Boom, and then stepping over the Pacific's Blue Dragons TRX to punch their ticket to Masters Toronto. And that international trophy that dodged them for years, PRX is coming for it. But how did they get past the heavy hitters in the lower bracket? There are plenty of reasons, but one of the biggest has to be the insertion of PatMen. Before he joined, PRX used to be a Formula 1 car with no pit crew. They were fast as hell, but falling apart mid-race. But ever since they added a dedicated support initiator who handles the dirty work, PRX finally found the stability they needed. Sure, they still have those "are they really a top team" moments, but more often than not, it's controlled chaos.
Paranoia sent out. Lion's share of the players able to dodge that one with the nano swarm. Finds Estrella. Mako dead. And Ching will find the last kill. All aboard, ladies and gentlemen. The train is for real.
And that's exactly why other teams had a hard time keeping up. Another factor that seemed to come out of nowhere is Mini. I mean, who knew PRX asked Mini for help, right? In an interview, Forsaken gave a shoutout to the former Fnatic coach for helping them level up their defense.
Credit to Mini from Fnatic, they help us. Our defense becomes really good because of him.
And it's showing big time. This return to form isn't just aim labs and scrims, it's brain buffs and coaching buffs combined. Like a snowball rolled to the peak of a mountain, those last two group stage games might have been a blessing in disguise. Sure, the FM and GE weren't exactly playoff caliber threats, but they gave PRX just enough momentum to start the roll. And once that snowball dropped, it built into a critical mass that tore through the lower bracket like an avalanche. The only question now is, can they keep that momentum going when Toronto kicks off? PRX fans, let me know, is the PRX Express still full steam ahead, or is it about to derail? And of course, we have saved the best for last. There's one reason, bigger than all the rest, that makes PaperX an absolute nightmare in Toronto. A reason so clear, no team wants to see them on their side of the bracket.
No! God! No! God, please, no! 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 No!
But before I spell it out, think about this. When was the last time every single player on a team started peaking at the same time? That's what's happening with PRX right now. Every single one of them is cooking. No weak links, all chipping in, just 5 players firing on all cylinders. And to prove it, we gotta look at the stats. I know I said I'm not a stat guy in the last video, but hear me out, this will be fast. All 5 PRX players are in the top 16 out of 40 players. That's not just impressive, it's absurd. It doesn't matter if everyone else were slumping or not. What matters here are 5 players being able to peak at the same time. And that changes everything. That's it for the stats segment. See? Fast and Furious. But, of course, there's always a but. The scariest part is that this new PRX core is still fresh. With Masters Toronto not until early June, they have plenty of time. I'm not saying other teams don't have time too, except the EMEA teams and their potato pieces or whatever. But this is PRX we're talking about here. They're easily the most unpredictable team heading into Toronto. And with the brand new meta set to drop before the tournament even starts, good luck to anyone trying to prep for that kind of chaos. And maybe, just maybe, even slot Mindfreak back in if the situation calls for it. Wow! Sure, the PRX train got derailed by RRQ, but that's the thrill of riding with them. It's high speed, no brakes, and yes, sometimes it crashes.
I'll push up through the smoke though, and instantly Meteor has come alive. 3 kills found.
To say they've turned back the clock wouldn't do it justice. This isn't nostalgia, it's evolution. PaperX didn't just return to form, they've turned a new leaf. And what's growing out of it? It looks deadly. And when the PRX train eventually hits full throttle, the real question is, can anyone stop it? We'll just have to wait and see. By the way, quick shout out to Polish Peripherals for their Valorant Masterclass, designed for absolute beginners. Do check them out if you have time. Anyway, that's it for the video. If you've made it this far, you're the real MVP. Leave a like if you enjoyed, hit that sub button so you don't miss out, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!